Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the public forum of the 28th Hydrogen and Fuel Cells Europe exhibition here at the Hannovermesse 2022. I still see quite some empty seats up here in the front, so I would like to invite you all to take a seat. The drinks are on the house, and that's not all, because we also have an interesting topic to talk about, so plenty of reasons to take a seat here. The topic I will be discussing here is Loop Energy's eFlow performance maximization and cost minimization. As the name suggests, this will be a talk with Loop Energy, none other than the Director of Marketing, Hugh. Can I get an applause? Hello there, Ethan. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Sorry. All right. This is the first time that you, and not you personally, but Loop as a company, has been attending the Fuel Cells Europe exhibition here. So nobody knows you yet, I think. Can you please introduce Loop?
Yeah, for sure. So Loop Energy, we are a hydrogen fuel cell manufacturer. We're based out of Vancouver, Canada. So primarily, we make our fuel cell modules and systems for commercial mobility and stationary applications. So yeah, very glad to be here. It is our first time indeed. In fact, we went public last February, and I only joined the company last April. So it's not only Loop Energy, but also me, myself. It's my first time here at the Hydrogen Fuel Cells Europe event.
Plenty to explore and plenty to learn here then. And we will be talking about that growth in a bit as well, because that is definitely something interesting. I was interested, Loop Energy, you guys make fuel cells, right?
That's right.
And we were talking about this before, and you said not all fuel cells are the same fuel cells.
That's right.
Explain, what is unique about your fuel cell?
Yeah, so with the way that we design our fuel cells, we actually have over 30 patents on the way that we design the bipolar plate. So instead of conventionally where all of the channels in the active area are parallel and evenly width across the top to the bottom of the plate, ours are actually tapered and narrowing in design. And what that does is we're able to accelerate the flow and actually deliver up to 16% better fuel efficiency compared to the industry average out there.
All right, so you said 16% more performance, more
fuel efficient.
Fuel efficiency.
Yeah.
Okay, and how does that tie into the cost minimization and performance maximization?
Yeah, so I think the first point about the fuel efficiency is, of course, if we're up to 16% more fuel efficient, you're using up to 16% less fuel. But on the other hand, you can flip that coin and say, hey, could I do more with that saved 16% fuel, right? And maximize your performance. If it's a vehicle, whether it's using that 16% to maximize your range or whatever the power output you need you need it for.
All right, and you already mentioned you already mentioned an application here. What applications, what sectors are your fuel cells used in?
Yeah, so we're primarily in commercial mobility, where we are actually seeing the most adoption in the market right now, and where there's most scalability. So, in fact, even within commercial mobility, there's buses, trucks, materials handling vehicles, airport vehicles, seaport vehicles, construction vehicles, tractors. We're actually seeing the most traction in the bus sector.
All right, and that efficiency is the main driver for these benefits you mentioned. So how did you find out that the industry apparently likes this fuel efficiency so much?
Well, we actually started by going out to our customers and really talking to them about, hey, what do the customers really need? Because at the end of the day, technology is technology. We can't just design something that's conceptual, theoretically great to some people, but if the industry does not adopt it and doesn't get used, then what is really the point? So when we speak with our customers, we really find out that fuel efficiency is the biggest driver. Fuel cost is the biggest driver of the total cost of ownership of any vehicle out there. So the biggest difference driver that we can make with fuel cell design and innovation is to go after fuel efficiency. The more fuel efficient we make it, the easier it is for them to adopt, whether it is to lower their costs, like I was just saying, or the way that they design their vehicle. They may need one less tank, or when that one less tank could be cost savings, but also, more room in whether it's a bus for passengers or more room for cargo in trucks, for the performance maximization as well.
Yeah, so that definitely opens up new possibilities, I would say, for applications.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about some numbers yesterday as well. You already mentioned fuel costs are the biggest share in the total cost of ownership. You mentioned 50% yesterday. That's quite a lot. So I can imagine your customers are quite happy with that 16% savings there.
That's right. Yeah, in some scenarios, definitely the total cost of ownership, over half of the total cost of ownership is in the fuel itself for operating the vehicle. And so it is a huge driver. For some vehicles and some fleets out there, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings per year. And if you multiply that by the number of years that one single vehicle, whether it's a bus or truck, that's millions of dollars in savings for that fleet owner and operator.
Yeah, and you mentioned an example to me yesterday about the Teva trucks, I think it was. Teva?
Teva trucks.
Teva
that's
trucks,
right.
yeah. Can you tell us, what was this project?
Yeah, so Teva Motors, they are a UK-based electric truck manufacturer. So very exciting company. They're growing very fast. And over the last few months, they went through a very rigorous vetting process for a fuel cell supplier around the world. We were obviously one of them. And out of that, we were able to outperform competition with our fuel efficiency and other performance metrics and win the supply agreement with Teva Motors for their hydrogen electric trucks.
Exciting new project then.
Yes.
And I think there were some other projects as well. You mentioned China before?
Yeah, so we're quite global in context. And so we're going after very, very different markets. Wherever there's hydrogen demand for vehicles, we're there. So in China, in a city called Nanjing, there is a bus line with 11 buses, all with hydrogen fuel cell buses and all with Loop Energy fuel cells. So that fleet has been running very successfully, ongoing for, I'd say, over a year now, is what I'm guessing.
Probably about right.
Yeah.
And then there was in the US as well, some projects, I believe?
Yeah, actually, many projects around the world. And so the US is starting to really, come about with their new regulations and incentives for hydrogen and hydrogen electric vehicles. And so we're in constant conversation with a lot of buses and truck manufacturers in the US to convert their fleet or to build a new platform for their bus and truck vehicles.
All right. This might be a good moment to ask the audience if there are any questions. If you do have a question, please raise your hand. And if not now, feel free to do so in the coming minutes as well. I do have a question, luckily.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about these projects, right? And there's a Loop Energy's fuel cell system in there. So what does this system, what is in there? What's in the box, basically?
Yeah, what's in the box? Well, the box is what we call a module. So the stacks sit inside, one or two. I'm not going to say too much about that. But from the module, we actually also couple it with a cooling system and DC-DC. And that's because when vehicle manufacturers come to us, they don't know actually what they need at the beginning sometimes, except that they do know that they want to convert their vehicle platforms to hydrogen electric. So they think, okay, fuel cell, who do I know as a fuel cell supplier out there that is great and has great technology? So they come to us and they're like, okay, what do we do now? And so we say, okay, we have our fuel cell and we do provide a very plug-and-play solution with our module. But we more and more realize that we need to integrate and provide more ease of integration for them. And so we've coupled with our cooling system and a DC-DC with our own fuel cell control unit that manages the integration and communication with those two components to provide an even more plug-and-play solution. And besides that, actually, on top of the system, we are able to, in the past year and a half, go out to different suppliers out there, whether it's hydrogen tank suppliers or engineering and integration firms, to create what we call a total customer care program. That's more marketing term. But really, it's to form Loop's ecosystem of partners that we know are quality, and we know we can trust, and we know that their products work well with our fuel cells. So by creating this ecosystem, we're more able to service our customers and get them to roll out and go into market as quickly as possible.
So you have these sort of certified partners and you can help your customers bring
Yeah,
them together.
that's right. We will walk into projects together. A lot of these components sometimes you have to source quite regionally. So we could have multiple partners. One's in Europe, one's in Asia, one's in North America. Whatever the customer might need in terms of their vehicle design and integration, we hopefully will have a solution for them, so that it helps us too when everybody kind of can come in with a solution for them.
All right, and we already briefly touched upon the growth that Loop Energy has been going through in the last year,
Yes.
2 years, I think it is.
Year and a bit, 2 years, yeah, was when we started to commercialize. That's right. And so, with the intent to commercialize, early last year, we also went public on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and we raised 100 million Canadian dollars there. I like to say they raised enough to hire me, but that's not true. I joined in April of last year, and I was employee 40 something. It was still quite a small company at the time when I joined last April. But between April last year and I guess we're June 1st today, we're over 120 people now, and we have offices in North America, Asia, and in Europe, with multiple locations in each continent. So we're growing extremely quickly, and that's to also make sure that we can service our customers in whichever time zone they're in.
Yeah, I can imagine. And why? Because Loop Energy does exist for longer than this 1.5 years, right? So what was happening in the years before that commercialization?
We're actually founded in the year 2000. So to think about it, we're almost a 22-year-old company. Hydrogen and the economy has taken its time a little bit to come of age. With our business and strategy development, it's around 2 years ago that we decided that was the time when the industry is really starting to ramp up, as you guys probably know as well, and really start to take this company to growth stage, as opposed to the incubation and innovation that we continue to do with our eFlow technology and with our plate designs.
All right, and you have been in the business now for 1 year, 1.5 years?
In the hydrogen
Business, yeah,
business,
that's what I
yes.
mean.
I'm from the automotive world, so I've worked with electric vehicles in the past, so that's kind of my tie-in as well.
Okay, so,
Yes.
so you are familiar from the sidelines before then, perhaps with the
Yeah,
the
always
growth.
looking from the outside, wanting to get in, and now I'm in, and very fortunate and very happy to be at Loop Energy. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And now that you are in, what would you say, looking at the whole landscape here and looking at the way hydrogen is developing, not just in the last years, but maybe also before then, where are we going?
Where are we going? Yeah, should I insert a forward-looking statement here from my lawyer? But I think where we're going is we need quick adoption and provide a lot of education and ease for our customers and for the broader market. I actually worked in, as I was saying, the electric vehicle market, 12, 13, 15 years ago, as the, passenger car industry was transitioning to embrace the first electric vehicles out there. And, for that matter, I was actually working with electric motorcycles, which was even more of an obscure product back in the day. And to really educate people about the performance, strengths of electrification and electric products, it did take a lot of going out there and making sure that you're educating people about the differences in fuel cells, why diesel and what the strengths of diesel are up to this point, and how we can replicate those advantages in an electrified way. In order to do so, we have to do the same thing with hydrogen and hydrogen electric technology.
Alrighty, and then if we look at Loop Energy in the future, what does that look like?
What does that look like? Well, growth. That's where that's why I joined the company, first of all. But with Loop Energy, we currently have a 30, 50, and 60 kilowatt module and system solution out there. We are actually, we've announced this, that we will be launching a 120 kilowatt module around, later this year. And so that will service the heavier duty vehicle markets and other stationary applications out there as well. And we will have more information for you, but it will be a very, very competitive product. Yeah.
Yeah, and that does follow the sort of industry trend now to move towards these larger applications, these heavy-duty applications first.
Yes.
Whereas a few years ago, the focus was more on, passenger cars perhaps and smaller applications.
Right.
So you're doing quite well there, I would say. Okay, you are here at the Hannovermesse. It's the first time that Loop is here at the
Yes.
Hydrogen Fuel Cells Europe exhibition. What needs to happen for you to look back to a awesome fair that was successful and so what needs to happen here?
Okay, well, 100% honesty, sales, right? And it's been great to actually interact with a lot of industry partners, integrators out there, and people looking at hydrogen as an option for them to adopt. So we've actually been able to, by our great location of our booth as well, been able to talk to a lot of manufacturers from around the world, whether it's stationary applications or different vehicle types out there, to look at, one, how they retrofit their existing vehicles with their existing layouts to hydrogen electric, but also build new platforms, build new bus and truck platforms where they can, be more efficient in layout with our hydrogen design. So when I look back at this, I hope that, a lot of these, very fruitful conversations will have gone down the line of seeing, vehicles on the road around the world.
All right, well, I think you're at the right place to find these people. And for all of you, if you are interested in buying one of these Loop modules or maybe just learn more about it, you can find them at booth C73, which is over there somewhere.
Over there, come find us. Yes.
Over there, come
we're,
find
We're the
them.
one with the big LED board in the
Exactly.
background. Yes.
Yeah. You see the big screen. It's very impressive. All right. If there are no further questions, let me look around here. Doesn't seem like it. Then I think that wraps it up because we are pretty much out of time. I would like to thank you. This was Ethan Hugh, Director of Marketing, Loop Energy. Can I get an applause, please?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.